Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between MaNa and Elazer on Central Protocol. In the top left side of the map, we have the red Protoss player. It is MaNa. And in the bottom right side of the map, we have the blue Zerg player. It is Elazer, representing True Esport. Oh, I did forget to mention that MaNa is representing Team Liquid, as is evident in his name. I suppose the TES is fairly visible for Elazer as well. But yes, it's a PvZ, my favorite matchup in StarCraft 2 and probably StarCraft 1 as well. I feel like there are so many different things that can happen. Yes, I know a lot of Protoss feel like they really have to go Phoenix against Zerg, lest they get overrun by mass muta. But man, at these pro levels, that doesn't necessarily seem to be the case. Something that David Kim talked about in a balance update post about a week or so ago. He said, yeah, we are seeing that in the lower levels, that Phoenix are kind of required for the Protoss against Zerg, but our professional players are seeming to handle it just fine without going mass Phoenix. So they don't really want to change the game just for the lower levels. They're trying to find a way to balance between helping out the low Bs, but at the same time not completely ruining the balance in the professional scene as well, which I think is a difficult thing to do. I mean, not to mention the fact that they're balancing 3 different races against each other when most games of RTS really just want to balance 2, which is, again, super difficult in and of itself. But regardless, it is a gateway expand here for MaNa, and we'll look at a hatch first for Elazer with the extractor and the pool there, as well as the extractor pops right on out. Probe scouts it out immediately, sees exactly what's coming out from the blue Zerg player. Nothing to worry about there. If you're MaNa, very standard opening. Don't have to worry about Lings showing up and ruining your day anytime soon, as the pool is not even finished yet. So again, scout. Just do it. At the lower levels, if you know what your opponent is doing, if you know what they can be doing, you feel so much more comfortable. It's easier to get your timings going. It's easier to remember to make probes and pylons and overlords and drones, and that is exactly what this game is all about, is not getting stuck and supply blocked at the lower levels. But this is not the lower levels. This is actually from Katowice 2016, so definitely not the lower levels. It's WCS level play here. I'm going to say level again just one more time and then probably knock it off from this point on. Holding the Zelnaga watchtower is this probe, and Elazer should be thinking about taking a third base unless he wants to go for a 2-base attack on MaNa's front door in the next couple of minutes. And he is sending some Lings out to scout out where the Protoss player is exactly, because look, he has no idea. He doesn't know he's over here. Red Protoss is going to probably try to kill this probe. MaNa should be smart enough to not actually lose this probe to the Ling unless it's on hold position. Wow, taking 3 or 4 shots there. Unfortunate reality, but managing to survive, as the Ling would rather hold the Zelnaga watchtower than chase after this probe and probably not even kill it before it gets home to the safety of where the Stalker is. Overlord, scouting on up, is going to get to the correct location of where the Protoss player is hanging out. There is a Twilight Council on the way for MaNa, likely going to be for Blink. Blink is pretty good in PvZ, and Adept holding the line now in place of that Stalker that was there previously. And there it is. There's that third hatch from Elazer that I was thinking we were going to see. In the meantime, nothing really much of interest happening with Elazer. Getting speed for his Lings, pumping out so many drones, 6 drones at once. That'll give him the lead on MaNa, and there's 1, 2, 3, yep, 30 to 33 to 30 right now, with more drones on the way as fast as Elazer can make them. MaNa is getting resonating glaives, increasing the attack speed of the Adepts by 40%, which is so great, as they already do a lot of damage against light units. And hitting with more DPS just makes them more and more valuable to the Protoss arsenal. Overlord scouts in, doesn't see anything. I mean, sees the condition of the wall here for MaNa, recognizes what buildings are at the front. Having the Cybercore at the front as Protoss always worries me, just because at this stage in the game where you don't have any higher tech yet, there goes the robotics facility. But either way, losing this early on means you can't go for things like this or things like this. And it just means that losing the Cybercore really restricts your tech paths and your tech choices from that point on. But it looks like Elazer's not planning on being aggressive, has 2 queens on over here checking things out, is going for the Roach Warren here at the 4-minute mark, which is a little bit late for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void, and a Forge on the way too. Adept just dancing or hanging out here while the Ling tries not to get killed by the Adept, but 2 of her buddies show up and snipe him down, leaving a bloodstain on that ramp. Right now, income tab is 46 to 42. The longer MaNa goes just kind of sitting inside his base, the worse this is going to be for him. Because what you really need to do, I say this all the time, but you need to force workers out of the Zerg player. You need to get in there and force units out of the Zerg player and not allow them to just continue making drones like this 3 at a time, 4 at a time, 5 at a time, because you will find yourself getting behind so darn fast if you haven't done anything by the 5, 7, 9 minute mark. So there are some adepts popping out, but it looks like MaNa's just going for a third nexus, scouting this area, making sure there's nothing that can stop it, and here comes the probe. So being very careful here is MaNa, but really not doing much of anything else. Okay, Warp Prism. Warp Prisms are used as a purely offensive device here for Protoss, so that's exactly what this guy will be doing. It's going to be an adept drop attempting to land here in the main of Elazer. There's a Spire on the way. There are roaches with Galil Reconstitution popping out too, but that Ling count is pretty meager with 2. There are 2 Lings and 4 roaches here on the map right now for the Zerg. More roaches on the way, which is going to be useful, but again, we're going to see how many drones these adepts can kill before all is said and done. Trying to sneak on into the base, the Ling can't quite get there and does get taken out by the sentry. Tried to squeeze on through, couldn't quite pull it off. And here we go, marching right on in, or floating right on in, is this Warp Prism. There's a Spore Crawler here, though. Hey, I didn't even see that one. So Spore Crawler gets some shots off there, and actually just focusing down drones, not worried about the roaches at all, which is a smart play by the Adept using MaNa. Don't even worry about the roaches. The roaches can't kill you fast enough to take you down that quickly anyway. Just take as many drones as you can. Try not to lose the Warp Prism, and you'll be A-okay. Observer floating on in sees the status of the creep spread by Elazer, which is very good, which is honestly very good. Popping in here again are the Adepts, almost losing one, picking it up just in time, just in the nick of time there. 4th base on the way for Elazer. These guys are macroing to their very heart's content right now. They are absolutely just getting as many workers and as much tech as they can at 66 to 55 harvesters in favor of the Zerg player. That 4th base is by no means under attack from the Protoss at this point, which I worry about if I'm MaNa. Yes, there are some attacks on up here, killing some creep tumors, but those mutas are fast, and that Warp Prism does not have the Gravitic Drive upgrade. It's gone. That's it. So you don't lose the Adepts immediately. You drop them on out there. The roaches come on in and try to take them out. Again, Adepts can't shoot up, so they die very quickly in that situation. Overlord trying to scout does end up getting killed by the Stalkers there, and here comes... Oh, that's just an Observer. I thought that was an Adept that escaped. But nope, that's just an Observer. Muta's trying to harass this 3rd base. Stalkers, Blink Stalkers specifically, in great position there, losing a Muta to those. Trying to move his way on up here to actually kill some stuff in this area. And there are 2 Stalkers here, but that's it. No, the Blink Stalkers do show up. Photon Overcharge, getting some shots off too, not losing any Mutas on that particular attack. Still flying on up here are the Mutas, trying to kill as many probes as they can, forcing the Stalkers to absolutely chase them all over Tarnation right now. Gonna lose a Muta, possibly another one too there. So MaNa did actually trade a few workers for a couple mutas there. 11 workers killed by Elazer to this point. I think that was all the mutas, unless there was a probe that died earlier. I don't really remember. Ling's trying to sneak on in. They're going right for the probes. They're holding position in the line, which means they will attack probes that come nearby and not aggro onto stuff that's attacking them. But they do get cleaned up as some Zealots and some Adepts pop on in here. But this is the big attack. Roaches and Ravagers ready to rock right now. No upgrades on these guys. +1 flyer attack on the mutas. So I think more mutas are what we're going to see in the future here. Holding it down with the force fields. Photon Overcharge on the way. Immortal coming from the top side here. Trying to kill everything that he can here is Elazer. But great force field placement again. Corrosive Bile not being used to take down force fields, which is always weird. Muta's flying on in once again, trying to kill more and more of those workers. 18 workers killed now. A good big attack going on, trying to focus down pylons, which is always weird to do, but in Legacy of the Void it is so darn important. And there's the recall. Oh, MaNa just abandons his 3rd base entirely to this Roach Ravager attack. It's 178 to 103. Total supply right now. That Nexus is absolutely going to fall. These probes are running for their lives, trying to get the heck on out of there. These Lings trying to take down this gateway that's on the low ground for a reason I don't fully understand here. Observer heading on out once again. The Mutas just dancing around everywhere, killing more and more stuff. 22 workers killed. The Mutas have been very busy indeed. Lings come down to try to deal with these probes. Going to get rid of every single one of them. It is 36 to 67 harvesters right now. Elazer looking good. Looking good. The mutas keep trying to fly on, but there are definitely now Phoenix for MaNa. So MaNa agrees with the sentiment that you really need Phoenix to deal with these mulas. Can these guys take out the Nexus? No! 24 hit points remaining. It does manage to survive. The mutas, though, all get cleaned up. Just trying to fight with Phoenix straight up. They do take a Phoenix with them, but all the mutas are gone, which I find interesting, considering the fact that Elazer took the time to get +1 to flyer attack on those mutas. Dancing in here are the Lings trying to get up into the main base and just get a quick scout off. Can any of them live? Yes! They did. They did live, but that was about it. Maybe just baiting these guys away. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like at this point it's only a matter of time. Elazer has a giant Roach, Ravager, Ling, Hydralisk army here. Muscular Augments is on the way, which does give Hydras more speed off creep. I think he's waiting for that. But in the meanwhile, taking a base here and taking any other additional bases. No, just kind of being circumspect at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases have been completed for Elazer to this point. Okay, 4.5, I suppose, is what that is. Retaking that third, though, is MaNa refusing to say die, recognizing that losing that third was a huge blow to his desire to win this game and his odds of winning this game. But these Lings actually are still a pretty big threat. You can't necessarily move out with this army. Maybe Disruptor shots can pull MaNa back into this game. I would not be surprised if a pretty good handful of Disruptor shots were enough to kill a bunch of Roaches, a bunch of Ravagers, a bunch of Hydras, and kind of even the score here. Phoenix flying around trying to scout things on out, maybe kill some workers. There's a Spore Crawler there. No Spore here as there is no creep. Blinking forward with the Stalkers doing a lot of damage to those Lings. 124 to 199 total supply. MaNa is not dead yet. The Lings come in though. Oh no. Hold position on the Lings. Good pull of drones. Good reaction time by MaNa as per usual. It's 48 to 68 Harvesters. Not as bad as it once was. Still fairly intimidating. And oh boy, big Ling run by into the main base. Photon Overcharge is up here too. These Roaches get all absolutely Purification Nova to death right there. Great play by MaNa. As I said, and now it is actually 153 to 122 total supply here. These Lings are still laying waste to the main base though. MaNa really needs to warp in some Zealots or some Adepts to handle these guys. And finally, the Adept does come in and try to do something. The Adepts do clean out the infestation here as well. So it is 43 to 68 total Harvesters right now. Elazer is going for Lurkers. Elazer is going for a Hive too, really saving these Hydras for some Lurker play, which can be very excellent against Protoss. Very excellent indeed. Is there still a Ling up there? Holy cow. Those Lings, man, super duper annoying. Another Warp Prism on the way for MaNa too, assuming you really need to get the harassment in to get back into this game. 47 to 66. Harvesters is down 19. 19 workers, not a good place to be, but again, 138, slowly creeping up in that total supply count. Army supply here as well is 87 to 122, so not a huge discrepancy, about 40 supply. Okay, it's big. I'm not going to lie, it's big. 9 Lurkers are on the way, a Greater Spire coming up too for Elazer. Pushing on through are the Stalkers, clearing out creep, doing what you need to do. Another Ling run by, +1/+1 on these guys. Is there anything to hold this line? Gotta hold the line. Where are the Adepts? Where? There is a great warp in there, but no, they could slip on through. Oh, the Zealot tried to hold it. Photon Overcharge being used to kill as many Lings as possible. Another big attack here. Coastal Battles being thrown down from the sky. The Lings once again laying waste to that natural, just killing as many probes as they can. Photon Overcharge has expired. This Mothership Core has enough for one more Photon Overcharge. Is she going to use it? I don't know. Pushing up here is MaNa, desperately trying to make this thing happen. Good use of the force fields. Coastal Battles being tapped on down, and they do take out the Warp Prism. Nicely done by Elazer. Here comes the Protoss army, recognizing that there are Lurkers here. Gotta use those Purification Novas on the Lurkers. Might be able to kill this base, actually, but coming up from the backside, a lot of Ravagers, a lot of Hydras. Good force fields, again, keeping most of the Zerg army away here, but a nice concave by Elazer as well. Any Purification Novas being used here? Not recently. Taking shots, forcing the Zerg army back. There are still Lings alive in here, killing pylons, but MaNa cannot be bothered to deal with that. He's going to try to kill this fully mining base from Elazer. Broodlords are on the way, though, and I just don't know what MaNa has to deal with Broodlords. Purification Nova dodged very ably by Elazer right there. This hatch might just straight up die, though. Purification Nova, again, dodge. Coastal Battles landing on top of everything. The Immortals splitting their attention between the attacks on the back and trying to deal with that hatchery, and they do end up getting the hatch. No! No, big surround on the Immortals there. They're all going to die there too. The Stalkers trying to kill the Broodlords that are morphing in, but there are still a bunch more already in the air here. Is this hatch going to survive? The Disruptor gets taken down. The Blink Stalkers blink to the low ground to try to deal with the Broodlords, but the Lurkers burrow right next to them, tearing through all of those Stalkers, and the hatch lives with 29 hit points, and that's it. A GG. GGGL from Liquid MaNa. Elazer's victorious, and MaNa is out. Woo! So that was intense. Again, I feel like Elazer did really well by getting rid of this third base by MaNa fairly early in the game. MaNa just didn't get much harassment out. Really didn't. Didn't have any timing attacks. Dropped 3 Adepts inside Elazer's main base, and that was pretty much all she wrote for MaNa. Lost the Warp Prism to Mutas not long after that, and I mean, that was it. This last big push for MaNa was really the main aggression that he was able to put on Elazer, and a Zerg player that's left alone for this long is just gonna win. I mean, they just are. I don't know how else to say it. I've seen it time and time again in these casts and in casts from even Brood War, back in the day. You leave a Zerg player alone long enough, they get a huge army up, they get a huge worker advantage, 55 to 30 at that point, and they will just overwhelm you with stuff. You might trade effectively. If we take a look at the resources lost here, 14,000 lost to 16,000. See, so MaNa lost fewer resources than Elazer did and lost fewer units, but it didn't matter because Elazer had the swarm behind him and he took the win. So that's it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter and Facebook, both at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.